Hi, you're watching my channel, Uniquely Heather Entertainment, where I have singing videos, dancing videos, acting videos, and today I'm gonna finally be doing an introductory video to the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. So, for those who don't know, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, otherwise known as or abbreviated as MBTI, is a personality theory. It is the most famous personality theory in the world, and it's actually pretty accurate. So, the reason I'm doing this is not because there aren't enough introductory videos already on YouTube. There are more than enough. However, a lot of people on my channel may have never heard of the Myers-Briggs, so that's why I want to start here before I post more advanced videos. So, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI, is a personality theory that was created by the famous psychologist Carl Jung. It gives you a 4-letter code. The first letter it gives you is either E or I. E stands for extrovert, I stands for introvert. I don't think I really need to explain those. Maybe I will in a future video. That one's pretty self-explanatory. The second letter it will give you in the 4-letter code, that it gives you a 4-letter code if you take the test and to find out what personality you are. There's 16 different personalities total, 16 different combinations. So yeah, the 4-letter, if I can speak, the 4-letter code it will give you, the first letter will either be E or I for extrovert or introvert. The second letter will be S or N. S stands for sensing. That is anybody who prefers the concrete world, anything to do with the 5 senses, sight, smell, taste, sound, touch. They usually like to talk about current events, people, places, things, anything concrete. So that's sensing. That would be the letter S. Or you might get the letter N for intuiting. That's anything abstract. So people who get the letter N in their test or assessment prefer the abstract world of thoughts, ideas, patterns, relationships, anything that you can't see or touch or taste or hear or smell. They might like things like romance or science or philosophy or anything like that. So that's S for sensing or N for intuiting. The one I just described was intuiting, yeah. So again, first letter you get either E for extrovert or I for introvert. Then the second letter you would get is either S for sensing, that's the concrete world, or N for intuiting, that's the abstract world. And we all have all of these. Like, we all have a little bit of introversion and extroversion. We all have a little bit of sensing and intuiting. It's not to say that you don't have one or the other. Like, we all have them all. But it's which one is your default mode? Which one do you use more of? So that being said, the third letter you would receive in your 4-letter code would be either T or F. T stands for thinking, F stands for feeling. So if you get T, thinking, that does not mean that you don't still have feelings. We all have feelings, we're all human. And if you get F for feeling, that doesn't mean that you don't still that you're not a thinker, that you're not intelligent. We all think, we all have lots of thoughts, and feelers are just as capable of overthinking and overanalyzing as thinkers are. And thinkers are just as capable of having strong feelings, just like feelers are. So that's not really what it's trying to distinguish there. But so T for thinking means that you like to decide things more based on objective logic, whereas F for feeling is more values based. You make decisions based on your values. It could be usually your personal values, It could be values like influenced by society as well. So the last letter that you would receive in your 4-letter code that would tell you what your personality type is out of the 16 possible types in the Myers-Briggs type indicator is either J or P. Now this one is the most, remember how I said at the start that like introvert versus extrovert is pretty self-explanatory? Well, this one's the opposite. This one is the most misleading naming. I wish they would change the name of this, but bear with me. J is for judging and P is for perceiving. J for judging, that does not mean that you judge people. That does not mean that you're judgmental. That's not what it means at all. So, what judging does mean is you prefer to schedule your time. You prefer to have a routine, or you like to know in advance what's going to happen, or make plans like maybe a week or several days in advance. And you like to come to conclusions about things. You like to make decisions and come to closure on things. The other letter, P, for perceiving, means that you prefer to just go with the flow. You prefer to be more spontaneous. You actually would probably rather not know in advance what you're going to do. You don't want to schedule something days or a week in advance, because that makes you feel too trapped. Like, you don't even know if you're going to be in the mood to do that by then, right? So you're kind of like more like, you would rather someone just call you up and be like, hey, want to go for lunch right now? And then you're like, oh yeah, sure. But like, that's a perceiver. They're more spontaneous. They would usually prefer not to make plans in advance. Perceivers prefer to leave their options open. They don't want to come to conclusions or closure on things. It makes them feel too trapped. They prefer to leave their options open, and so that just like anything can happen, kind of. They're just go with the flow, kind of, and spontaneous. Judgers, on the other hand, not knowing what's going to happen or when they're going to have lunch with someone tomorrow or the next day actually could make them nervous. So they're the opposite of perceivers. Judgers want to know in advance. That makes them feel better. But perceivers are the opposite. They feel better not knowing. I'm oversimplifying a little bit. Like, there's a lot more to this. So if I'm probably like oversimplifying this a little bit. It's a little more complicated than that. It goes deeper. There's a lot more to the Myers-Briggs. Like, what I'm saying just now with the 4 letters and explaining what each letter means is barely scratching the surface. So if you don't know about the Myers-Briggs, YouTube it. There's a whole other deeper, more complicated layer to the Myers-Briggs type indicator. It's called the 8 cognitive functions. Yeah, the 8 cognitive functions, that's really what the Myers-Briggs is about, not so much the individual letters. But I'm not going to get into the 8 cognitive functions in this video, because that would be a much longer video, and this is just an introductory video. So thank you for listening to me about the Myers-Briggs type indicator. I've been wanting to make this video for a few years now. Been procrastinating. Happy that I finally did this. And I will probably make a few more Myers-Briggs videos in the future. In the meantime, go ahead and watch my singing videos, my dancing videos, my acting reels. And thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, get notifications, and if you like this video, click like at the bottom. Thank you very much. This is Uniquely Heather Entertainment, formerly known as Uniquely Heather Holly. Bye! One more thing, actually 2 more things. I forgot to mention how you can look up what your 4-letter code is, or how you can find that out. So if you just type into Google search free MBTI assessment online, or no, that'll probably work too, but I meant to say free MBTI test online. Just type that into the Google search. There's several different like free versions of the test, or you can take the official version, which you have to like pay money for. But if you just want to take one of the free versions, there's several different free versions. I recommend taking like two different ones, so like one from 2 different websites, and see if you get the same result. When you're taking the test, do not base it on your mood. You want to answer it in terms of what you normally do in the long term, like how you normally act. Like, of course, there's always going to be exceptions, but if you find that you're getting a different test result each time you take it, then you're basing it too much on your mood. You're not doing it right. So you should get the same answer almost every single time. Yeah, so that's how you would find out your 4-letter combination. And just as a few examples, again, the first letter would be E or I, extrovert or introvert. The second letter would be N or S, intuiting or sensing. Third letter would be T or F, thinking or feeling. Fourth letter would be J or P, judging or perceiving. So for example, you might get the result ENFJ. So that means you're an extrovert, you're intuiting, you're feeling and judging. Or you might get ISTP, meaning you're introverted, sensing, thinking, perceiving. Or you could get ENFP, so you're extroverted, intuiting, feeling, perceiving. That's kind of what the results would look like. But there's 16 different possible combinations of those letters. Hope that helps. Hope you find some interest in the Myers-Briggs type indicator. And there's also another really cool personality theory called the Enneagram. It's spelled ENNEAGRAM. I'm not going to explain that one in this video. I'll save that for another video, but if you really want to know about it, you can Google it or YouTube it and find out more. Alrighty. Once again, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, click like, and watch more of my videos. Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.